Hi, Anne. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm my neck hurts, my back hurts. I'm still tired from 10 days in New York City, but I'm very happy because the Noir City, New York Festival went extremely well.
Cool.
So
Very good.
do we need to introduce ourselves for
Yes,
the
we should do
late
we should do
Johnny for the Johnny come latelys in the crowd? Yeah, okay, very
yes,
good.
absolutely. So the show's Ask Eddie, and this is Eddie Moeller, and he is president of the Film Noir Foundation and our MC at most of our North City film festivals, which we just had one in New York, and you have a show on TCM called Noir Alley. That's it. That's all I got.
Okay. And once in a while I write books and
You do.
stuff
You
like
do
that.
right.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I self-identify. I'm a
Was a
writer,
writer. Yeah.
but and then there's all that other stuff too. And you are Ann Hawkins, Director of Communications for the Film Noir Foundation, among many other things. But for our purposes tonight, you are the Director of Communications for the Film Noir Foundation and the wonderful person who fields all the submitted questions. You can explain to folks how that happens in a second.
Okay.
Fields the questions and collates them and puts them all together so that we can have these fun little 90-minute conversations as often as we can manage it.
Yes, which ideally is every 2 weeks, but I let everybody know ahead of time that we were going to be delayed a week because of the New York Festival. And to get your questions submitted, you need to go to filmnoirfoundation.org and sign up on our email list. And then you get the newsletter and you get announcements of when the show is on. And when we announce the show's on, we take questions. Not for that episode because we pre-record these. And so basically, your question will be answered eventually. We're for the older questions, we're about a year behind, but sometimes questions come in that are relevant to things kind of happening now, like if you screen something on Nor Alley and people have feelings about it, or something about the festival and stuff like that. So anyway, and yeah, so but we do get to everyone's questions eventually, I swear.
Eventually, sooner or later, we will get to them. And honestly, if it's a question that once in a while, Anne, I appreciate that you send me a question and say, "Do you want to deal with this on the air?" And if I don't, I will answer the question personally, and
Yes.
send an email back or something if it's not something I really want to discuss on the air. I try to get to everything. Okay. And people may have noticed that I'm not in the usual spot. I am in the kitchen of my home, and which means, as I explained to you a moment ago, there may be a sighting. I may finally have a cat sighting on my end because I'm sitting right where Bento, which is our cat's name, our feral cat who took up residency in the basement. I mean, the cat's was in the basement 4 years ago and lived there for 2 years, going in and out through some secret passageway. But then it was out for a year and a half, and now it's back in for half a year, just back living in the house without really being our cat. Is any
Yes.
cat really your cat? I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. Feral
you,
cats, though, definitely are like,
yeah,
he's like your surly teenager that lives in the basement.
that's exactly what she is. Yeah,
Sorry,
and
she.
you can see a little water thing right over here on the floor, and right behind me is where Bento just ate. But then I can't. If I lean back, my chair is going to creak quite badly, and that will scare her back into the basement. But I believe that she is right around this corner,
Mhm.
sitting on the threshold of the basement steps, just absorbing what there is to absorb about film noir.
See,
This conversation, yeah. But if Bruno and Bento could see each other, they would wonder if they were somehow related because they're both black cats. They both look very much alike. Okay, so let's get rolling.
something I forgot to say though is that when you sign up on our email list, if you also donate $20 or more to the Film Noir Foundation, then you receive the North City E-Magazine digital version for a year.
Yes, indeed.
Which is kind of quarterly.
Which is a publication we're extremely proud of. Last issue was just spectacular. And anyway, so yeah, it's a good thing to do. And you're supporting the restoration of movies, which we have a bunch in the pipeline. So I'm have a feeling we're going to get around to talking about some of those tonight. So anyway, I wanted to start off just very quickly talking about the New York Festival, which was really terrific. I mean, it was a rough 10 days in New York just because it was so freaking hot, and humid. Those wildfires in Canada drifted down into New York State, and for a couple of those days, the air was just impossible. The whole city, of course, was overrun by the World Cup, which was the final was played nearby in New Jersey, and God bless him, the mayor of New York decided to show the World Cup games in the middle of Manhattan on these gigantic screens. Which was very exciting and made for a great vibe, but it was a little difficult sometimes to get to the theater on time because of all the traffic and everything. And, it seemed like no matter what I did, walk, subway, or taxi, it was a challenge. But amazingly, people got there in droves, and it was very, very satisfying. So we will do that again next year. That has already been discussed.
So we're good for next year. All right.
We're on for next year, and it was really fun because they didn't, except for the last weekend when I introduced basically everything. They didn't overwork me, and I was very, the Film Noir Foundation represented because I also had Imogen Sarah Smith and Foster Hirsch on hand to present some of the films, and I introduced Pick Up on South Street with Imogen and Sorry Wrong Number with Foster, which was always a great pleasure. I've known Foster for 25 years now, and he's such a great guy and so knowledgeable. It was great fun doing that with him, and very cool audiences. I told the audience I was so excited on the final night because we showed Double Indemnity on Sunday night in the prime spot, and it was fantastic. I stayed and watched the movie, and it was a packed house, and it was just so wonderful that I told the audience afterwards that I've been doing this for 27 years, and that was the single best screening of Double Indemnity that I've ever been part of, that I've ever had the pleasure to introduce, because it just, I think what I said was that every film screening is a separate and distinct experience. They're all different. The movies play differently. The vibe is different. The audience composition is different. Venue is different. But that one just was a home run. Billy Wilder would have been extremely gratified at the audience reaction, which, the laughs were in the right place, the gasps were in the right place, and a percentage of the audience had not seen it before.
Oh, wow.
Which is great, because it used to be, I think, that people would be kind of embarrassed to admit they hadn't seen a classic film, but now I think we create an environment where it's like, come out and find out what you've been missing,
Yeah.
And we're not shaming anybody. Like, how is it that you haven't seen this movie before? But there were enough people, and that's one of the things. There has to be people in the audience who have not seen the movie before in order for the screening to kind of hit that super high level, because you can feel the excitement of people reacting to the film for the very first time.
Yeah.
And it was just great.
I love your tile.
Oh,
sorry. I was really
you.
I was getting a little distracted because it's really beautiful.
I designed that. I'm glad
Did
you
you
like
really?
it. I
Yeah.
did. I designed that, and
Yeah.
picked out the colors and the pattern, drew up the pattern and everything. It goes all the way around. You can't see the whole thing, but it goes all the way around the kitchen, and it's on this side over
Side
here.
all the way. Yeah. Very cool.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, folks.
And you're procaffeinating. I warn you, I might have to martini-ize before
Yeah.
we're done. I may actually. The one great thing about this setup tonight
Yeah.
is that I can go right over here to my butcher block where you see.
Yeah. Quite an array.
Yeah, it's more like a liquor, cabinet or something.
Yeah.
And I could actually, without having to take a break, I could get up and go make myself a martini and come back without missing anything. So that may happen before long. It is really warm today.
Sorry, I'm just putting my water down before my cat knocks it over.
There you go.
He's about to come into frame here. Hello,
Okay.
darling.
And is this
It's
Lino?
Bruno.
This is Bruno. Okay.
Yeah, who was crying before we started, before the camera turned on. He was letting me know that he needed my attention. Okay, there you go, sweetheart.
Oh, yeah, there I just saw he walked right in front of the camera.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys, but he was like blocking where the questions were on my screen, so he had to move. First, we got some comments from YouTube. A little follow up from our previous show. Leave her to heaven is a line from the play Hamlet. The ghost of Hamlet the ghost of Hamlet's father instructs Hamlet to get revenge on his uncle Claudius, but not to take it out on his mother Gertrude.
So leave her to heaven. Leave her
to heaven is the line. Yeah. For fictional noir towns, going to mention again Chuckawalla from Desert Fury, Grassville from Sorry Wrong Number.
Oh yeah, Grassville. I forgot about that.
And last time I mentioned that Tatum Channing was in a kind of horror type movie, and the film is called Blink Twice, and that was 2024. Directed by Zoe Kravitz, starring Tatum and a group of people invited to a private island on a billionaire tech, owned by a billionaire tech. The cat's right. You're going to have to read the first question.
Okay. It's funny that I haven't, because in the last episode, I kind of raved about Channing Tatum.
Yeah.
And how much this is going to be horrible in a second. I'm going to have to get up because I can tell that I didn't plan for this. The sun is setting in such a way that it's going to be blasting right through here.
And you
can see it rising up my shirt as we speak. So that's gonna get kind of stupid in a minute. So maybe I'll use that as my to fix
martini
that
break.
And make a martini break.
We can do a little.
But I was raving about Channing Tatum having seen Roof Man, and it's funny because I now I recall the release of that thing, Blink Twice.
Yeah.
And it's just funny that's become a instantaneous subgenre of mystery movies is tech billionaires in secluded places inviting people and then people getting killed. Yeah. Because that was Murder at the End of the World, which was a limited series on TV.
Yeah.
Wasn't that also the premise of Glass Onion, the second Knives Out movie?
Yes.
And then Blink Twice, same thing.
Yeah.
And of course it was also in a manner of speaking the plot of whatever the last James Bond movie was with Daniel Craig, where Bond goes to an island, where the Rami Malek is basically playing Elon Musk in that movie. Yeah. And so that's a thing. That's become a thing. Somebody should write a book about it.
Okay. I can do the first question after all.
Okay, good.
I think we need to focus first on casting the lead in the Ted Turner biopic.
People
the
won't
question that keeps on giving. This has been our most successful question.
Who would play Ted Turner in the Ted Turner
Right.
biopic?
Then,
Unbelievable.
then we can consider who should play Jane Fonda. For Turner, we may need to cast an unknown. Tom Noonan seems to have the body type and maybe the grin, and I love Tom Noonan. But
Well,
perhaps,
unfortunately, Tom Noonan died
oh, that's
last year.
right.
So
Oh
yeah,
shit, I
so
forgot. Yeah.
yeah, so Tom
So I
Noonan
guess
isn't
Tom
doing it.
Noonan's out, but perhaps we shouldn't worry so much about appearances. Other recent biopics haven't. With that in mind, allow me to put forth Michael Shannon. He doesn't have the look, but he has the gravitas. He certainly did a good job with both Elvis and George Jones. Your thoughts, please.
I have a hard time seeing Michael Shannon. Michael Shannon, I admire him tremendously as an actor, uh, but there's a I hate to say this, but there's a creep factor to Michael Shannon that I don't get that off Ted Turner. I know that he was kind of a could be a blowhard and everything, but he was also super charming and okay, maybe Michael Shannon. I mean, man, it's not a bad idea.
I mean, I
Uh,
think it depends on what you've seen Michael Shannon in, because I mean, like, he's not creepy at all in Revolutionary Road. He's great in that.
no,
And
he's not.
I've seen
You're
him on
right.
stage, and the character he played on stage was very different from anything that I've seen him do in films.
You didn't see him do Bug, did you?
No, no, I saw him in a play. Oh God, who's the guy that played Ant-Man? Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd,
You know,
yes.
he was a Shakespearean actor and stuff before he went into films. He was a serious dramatic actor, and it was the two of them, and then a woman, and then Ed Asner, and it was a
Huh.
really good play. Yeah, and he was just like amazing in it.
Do we
But
remember the name of it?
I cannot remember the name of it for the
Okay.
life of me, because it's one of those names that's hard to remember.
Michael Shannon was also in a picture I really liked, like a post 9/11 noir kind of thing called The Missing Person that I really enjoyed, and it was a pretty straight role for him. But then you see him in stuff like The Shape of Water, and he's just so villainous
Yeah.
and creepy that I don't see that. I thought about it, and after the last time this question came up, and I thought if he could, the timbre of this guy's voice is correct, but I'd have to know if he could do that Southern drawl that Ted
Yeah.
Turner had. But and I don't think I mentioned this before, but John Slattery, right, who played
Mm-hmm.
Roger
Yeah.
Sterling on Mad Men, I
Yeah.
saw some photos of him where he had a mustache, and I'll be damned if he did not actually look like Ted Turner. Now I know the look thing is not the essential ingredient, but Ted Turner was fairly well known, and so
Yeah.
the look is kind of necessary to capture. Anyway,
Anyway, so one more comment on the Ted Turner thing, and this is from
yes.
Malvina. If he were still alive, I think Zachary Scott would have been a good choice. As
uh,
as for a modern actor, I think Billy Bob Thornton has the charm and talent to make it work. God, he could, the accent.
well, Billy Bob Thornton could probably do the voice, no question. I mean,
Yeah,
he already has it.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, but I mean, I kind of feel the same way about Billy Bob Thornton that I feel about Michael Shannon. There's a weird edginess. I mean, he can be very charming on screen, but I don't know. I don't know that this is in the works. I mean, it'll be. I don't know why people are so obsessed with this idea about who would play Ted Turner. It's pretty funny.
I don't think we've ever
Okay,
gotten this much commentary on a
I
single question before. It's
I have to
insane.
ask you now. Now I'm doing weird shadow puppet things with my hand. Is this bothering you? Is this really bothersome? This light?
I mean, not for me. I think it's fine,
Well,
but you're probably want to. I don't know.
it's either going to get better or worse. It's either going
Yeah,
to be better when it actually just illuminates me instead of,
right.
I feel
Just
like
part of you.
yeah, it's just kind of weird, but we'll see how it goes. So, I did not take this into account. It was
Yeah.
poor planning on my part. So, anyway, okay.
Oh,
So,
speaking of biopics, did you see? I'm really excited because they're doing one on when Stallone was shopping. He wrote, for people that don't know, so Sylvester Stallone wrote the screenplay of a best Oscar winner, best,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
Rocky, his
Rocky,
first
yeah,
film.
yeah,
And if people don't know, when he was shopping the script, which he wrote for himself, nobody wanted to cast him in it.
yeah.
And he refused, basically stuck to his guns and refused to just sell the screenplay, which they were
Yeah,
offering a
they had
lot
you
for.
if you wanted to make the movie, you had to cast him as Rocky.
Yeah. Anyway, so somebody made a film about that, which I think will be really interesting. They did a good job casting the guy. The guy looks pretty much like he's a little
Yeah,
prettier than
I
Sylvester
saw a
was.
trailer for it,
Huh.
and yeah, it does seem kind of interesting. And it's funny because we were just talking about Billy Bob Thornton, and he did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
He wrote Sling Blade with Tom Epperson, and then it was clearly, you know, he was a writer as well as an actor, and he wanted to do what Stallone did, like write a movie for himself, and you don't get the screenplay unless you get me in the process, and
Yeah, and what was weird was a couple years ago I saw, and I cannot remember who the actress was, but she was on Colbert, and she was talking about she had done the same thing where she had written a screenplay, you know, and she was shopping around, but she wanted to be, to play the lead, and she happened to run into Sylvester Stallone at a party, and he said to her, "Stick to your guns.
yeah,
Don't sell the screenplay without you being able to star." And he told her, the story about, that he had done that with Rocky. But I wish I could remember
right,
that who the actress was. But I thought that was really sweet that he passed that on to someone that
yeah,
really needed to hear it at the
yeah.
time.
Oh, I'm sure somebody will fill us in on who
Yeah,
that
if somebody
was.
knows who the actress is, that would be great. You want to do
Okay,
number two?
okay, sure. This is from Doug in New York, and and this is a new comment. This one must have just come in.
Yeah.
It was a big thrill to meet you at the Noir City Festival that just concluded in New York. Festival was amazing. I hope the Big Apple gave a good enough account of itself to coax you back again soon. Well, a year will be as soon as it happens. It was also exciting to see many great noirs on the big screen with a packed audience for the first time. As a lifelong New Yorker, films like Sweet Smell of Success and Killer's Kiss are especially fascinating to watch because they feature authentic New York City locations that I lived in and remember from growing up and later working in the city back in the 60s. Like many New Yorkers, I sometimes find myself waxing nostalgic for the sordid and seedy Times Square captured in Who Killed Teddy Bear compared to the Disney-esque caricature it's become. Yeah, well, I hear you. Are there specific noir film locations that evoke personal memories for you? If so, what are they and why? Oh, I'm so glad that light went away. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, um, I hate to disappoint you, Doug, in New York, but no, not really. Um, I mean, I've done noir tours of San Francisco, but I don't get nostalgic for any of this stuff. I see the locations and it's like, yeah, I see how they used it, and it's like a very practical thing for me. When I go to Fort Point and see where Kim Novak jumped into the bay in Vertigo, it's more like I'm thinking of how did they actually piece this together, because you can't actually jump into the bay from where she was. It's not going to work. She's not going to go in the water. She's going to go right on the rocks and be killed. So that's the stuff I tend to look at, and I really don't get nostalgic about much of anything, to be honest with you. It all interests me, but I don't. And there aren't really any personal memories because, especially when it comes to noir, because I didn't live through it. I mean, I recognize it and I can kind of soak up the vibe because I lived, like I'm talking now about San Francisco. I lived in San Francisco and understood an attitude and a feeling that the city had that was pervasive in the city, not in a particular location. That's what I kind of miss and am nostalgic for, not any specific place. Like when I go into North Beach, I don't go, oh, it used to be this or that. It is what it is now, and I don't waste a lot of time saying it used to be better. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, I guess for me, the only thing that's really ever made me nostalgic is the film Bleeder, which is a Danish film with Mads Mikkelsen. And the opening scene, I mean, I remember seeing the clip of the opening scene before I found a copy of the film because someone had posted it. And it's just this pan across this incredible video store library,
Oh,
and I almost started, like, I literally almost started crying because I missed working in a video store. And just the whole film, because one of the characters, Lenny,
yeah.
played by Mads Mikkelsen, works in an independent video store. And so you go through this whole, like, incredible shot, which he sets like classical music of the video store, and then Lenny's explaining all the sections to a new customer. He goes through the whole thing, all the director sections and stuff, and at the end of
Yeah.
it, and just if you worked at a video store, you see it coming. So where's the porn section? But that
Yeah.
film, just all the stuff, and even just kind of Lenny's lifestyle when he's alone in his little apartment watching all these movies and stuff was very like nostalgic for me.
Yeah, it's funny. The first book I ever did, Grindhouse, The Forbidden World of Adults Only Cinema, the end of that book, and it's funny because I use the exact same visual gimmick in Dark City, the original version of Dark City. And it was saying, because the book was all about going to see adults only movies in movie theaters. And so for the end, I said, well, all this is gone. And it's all nostalgia now because video stores have replaced adult movie theaters. You don't go and watch these in public with other people anymore. You just go to the video store and rent the video. That was, there was no streaming at the time I wrote that book. And in order to illustrate this, I went to my local video store and photographed myself from the back, like going through the curtains into the porno section, right? And yeah, that was pretty amusing. I enlisted some guy who worked in the video store to take my camera and shoot the picture, And so I'll give you a photo credit in the book. And then, of course, I used that same thing when I was writing Dark City about Psycho, ending the film noir era. And then I used a picture of Janet Leigh grabbing the curtain and pulling it down in the shower scene. And like they kind of mirrored each other, like it's the end of an era. And they were both like curtain shots,
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know why I thought of that. Obviously, and it's not the lightning round because I'm just giving these long detours in the answers, but there you go.
Okay, so question 3 from Christine in LA. I always enjoy seeing film noir. I always enjoy seeing in film noir how cities such as Los Angeles or San Francisco looked back in the day. Also, I've heard you say that you always try to have North City festivals and historic theaters. I was wondering if you know of any films noir which have on-location filming showing the interior or exterior of historic theaters.
Yeah. I'm thinking about this now. It's The Crooked Way, the Robert Florey movie from 1949 with John Payne, has a scene on South Broadway in Los Angeles, which was famous for having more movie theaters. I think there were, I don't know, 12 or 16 movie theaters on South Broadway in the 40s. And there is a scene in that movie where you see the whole boulevard of cinemas. That was pretty awesome. I know that I Wake Up Screaming has a scene in a movie theater, in a grindhouse, in fact, which of course has nothing to do with showing dirty movies. A grindhouse just means the movies play constantly. Their show times are a moot point. You just walk in when you walk in, you walk out when you want to walk out, and the movie's playing, which is important to the plot of I Wake Up Screaming. And I know that there's a great movie theater scene in the picture Edge of Doom. Have you ever seen Edge of Doom with Farley Granger?
What happens in it?
He kills a priest.
Yes, I've seen that.
Yeah, and it's a weird, screwed up movie because they got scared of how grim the movie was when they shot the film straight. And then they inserted this Dana Andrews was put into the movie as a priest to be like a conscience and to kind of bail the film out because it was so unrelentingly bleak. And I think if they hadn't have done that, it would be the bleakest film noir of the classic era. And but anyway, Farley Granger kills this priest, and as he's leaving, he passes a movie theater where that Paul Stewart, who is a tenant, a neighbor of his in his tenement, has just robbed, and they mistakenly arrest Farley Granger for the crime. With, I think they also get Paul Stewart, but and I think it was. I know that the theater was the Galaxy, is what it said on the marquee, but when I looked it up one time and I couldn't find any Galaxy theater in New York. So I'm wondering if it wasn't shot in Los Angeles, as much of that movie was, and they were just faking New York. Yeah. Anyway, it was really good because they spent a lot of time showing the outside of the theater and the box office and the marquee and all this stuff. And I believe that movie was photographed by Harry Stradling Jr. and or Harry Stradling. I don't know if he was a junior. And it's just spectacular cinematography. So those are some that I can think of off the top of my head. Do you know of any? Or
I don't know.
I mean, I know, of course, Bonnie and Clyde. They go and watch the movie.
Oh, yeah.
They go into a movie theater in Bonnie and Clyde.
But I think in Dillinger.
Yes, in Dillinger, but they don't really. I think it's not really a movie theater. I think it's just a set.
Oh yeah, those are sets.
Set as a movie theater.
They weren't
yeah,
done on location. Yeah.
Yeah, he robs the woman in the box office at the movie theater, but Lawrence Tierney. But I don't believe it was a real movie theater, and I can't remember. I don't remember. Did they show the Biograph movie theater at the end of Dillinger? Because that's famously where Dillinger was killed.
He was killed, yeah.
At the end, and I can't actually remember if they showed. I
don't know if they showed
the movie theater or not.
Yeah, I know one of the versions of the story. They have him. They show him being shot in the theater at the end. But I don't know.
I don't think he was in the theater. I think he was outside the theater, right? The lady in red leads him out. Yeah, and yeah. And anyway, okay. Yeah. So those we came up with a few for Christine in LA. That's good.
Okay.
Me now. Okay. This is Joe, our buddy Joe in Suffolk County, New York, said, with sadness, we learned of the death of Anne Blythe at age 98. At 17, she entered the noir pantheon with one slap, which she delivered to Joan Crawford in Mildred Pierce, and got slapped back. What are some memorable slaps in noir, and who delivered them? Well, because I just showed it at all the festivals this year, Ida Lupino and The Man I Love slaps several people around in that movie. I think it's Don McGuire or somebody is the one that she really goes to town on.
Yeah, which is funny because when we watched it, I remember her slapping him, but I didn't remember that she slaps him repeatedly.
Yeah.
She doesn't slap him once. She's like, boom, boom, boom.
I have to say my all-time favorite slapping in the face is in the Mexican film Victims of Sin, when Ninon Sevilla slaps the mother who's abandoned her baby, who's tossed her baby in a garbage can. and she retrieves the baby and then encounters this woman again at the nightclub where they both work, and she just slaps the shit out of her. And it's uproarious. The audience just loves it. Of course, and your guy, Dan Duryea,
Lots of slapping.
lots of like every movie he made in the 40s practically
No, on
slapping somebody.
Saturday, Ted and I watched Do You Know This Voice, which is a Brit Noir he did and stuff. And
Yeah.
so there's this scene where he's like talking, he and his wife are arguing, and like Dan slaps her, and Ted's like, oh my God, so he is a bad guy. I was like, Ted, he does that so much. It was like
Oh
his
yeah.
signature move of
That was
slapping a
his
woman
signature
during the
move.
course
Yeah.
of the film.
And of course, great slapping scene in Angel Face when Mitchum slaps Gene Simmons to stop her from being hysterical, and then she slaps him back. That is fantastic. There's the slapping scene. They're starting to come to me now. There's a slapping scene in The Postman Always Rings Twice when the guy who's trying to blackmail them, who shows up in the third act, and John Garfield smacks the crap out of him, and they actually, the guy's face gets all bruised and everything. There's also Kirk Douglas slapping Jane Greer in Out of the Past. And I know I remembered that one because Jane said he really hit her really hard. And she did not appreciate that at all. I'm trying to think. I'm sure that Ralph Meekers slaps people around in Kiss Me Deadly. A lot of slapping going on there. I think he slaps Percy Hilton, and then he also, slams his hand in the desk drawer.
The Maltese Falcon.
The Maltese Falcon, of course. Spade slaps Joel Cairo. You'll take it and like it.
Like it.
Yeah. So we did good on that one. I think it's a fair amount of slapping going on there.
And there is a Jack Carson, Doris Day, and Morgan did a comedy where the two of them are making her into a star. So they're in this they're like in one of those like they're buying her clothes, right? And so that one of the places with the couches is in the middle. And so while she's off trying something on, the two of them are talking about, well, this is my weekend with her. No, this is my weekend with her. And then behind them, Joan Crawford is sitting there knitting on a chaise, like in a little sofa and stuff. And she's overhearing, she's doing this reaction to what they're saying. Because of course she sees this as this woman being exploited because she's with her. And she goes and she slaps both of them. It's so funny.
This was why can't I remember the name of this movie? I showed it. I introduced it on TCM.
Yeah, it's one of two that she did with the two of them.
Yeah, it's
one's serious and one's a comedy.
Right. Okay.
Anyway,
I think it's your turn.
We really got a lot of mileage out of that slapping. Oops.
I'm sure there's many more that I'll start thinking of them as we go on.
We can just shout them out.
Well, Ronald Reagan really hauls off and smacks Angie Dickinson.
Oh yeah, I love him in that movie. That is just, and I know he just did it as
a great villain.
He did it as a favor, but because he kind of moved on from acting at that point, pretty much. But he did the film as if people don't know, he did the film as a favor to the producer. But God, he's fantastic in that.
Yeah, he's a great villain, and I believe that was his last movie. That was his last.
It was,
movie.
Yeah. Lee Marvin.
The weird light is back.
Is back.
Weirder than ever, really, and there's nothing I can do about it. So I'm just going to pretend it's not happening.
Okay. Lee Marvin's opinion on movies made in color versus black and white. So you have a nice scene in a dark alley in color. It really doesn't amount to much. If you did it in black and white, like the old days, what they could do with the shadows would be much more dramatic. I mean, look at Joan Crawford films. The way you see through those bars of light and the mood and the beauty. Somehow it allows you to experience it in its purity, whereas in color it allows you to tear it apart. Eddie, what is your feeling on this topic? And that's from our friend Alan in San Anselmo.
Yeah. Of course, I agree with Lee Marvin because you take your life in your hands if you disagree with Lee Marvin. But no, I completely agree with that. But I do believe there are certain movies that should be in color and other ones that would probably benefit from being in black and white. I mean, Sam Fuller always said that black and white just felt more truthful than color. And what I think happened was that color just allowed people to simulate life, real life, more easily, and therefore they got lazy
Mm-hmm.
with the visual styling and the composition and everything, because it wasn't as artful
Mm-hmm.
as doing it in black and white. But that said, uh, like I don't think Chinatown, for example, would be better in black and white. I think it has to be a color movie.
Well, because it's showing LA, right?
It's showing LA. It needs to have the orange groves and the sun and the particular kind of light you get in California, which is also true of another LA movie I love, not an LA movie, but a Southern California movie I love, Cutter's Way,
Oh
which
yeah, I couldn't imagine that in black and white.
yeah,
Yeah.
which Jordan Cronenweth just did an amazing job photographing that movie because he captured the very distinctive quality of the light in that part of California, in that Santa Barbara coastal area. I mean, he really nailed it.
Yeah, if you guys
Uh,
haven't seen Cutter's Way, watch Cutter's Way. It's a really great film.
oh yeah, I love that movie. I love and to me, it's the perfect double bill with Chinatown because
Oh wow.
they're
I can
just
see that.
both about they're both about the corruption of the state by these rich industrialists and stuff, and they just capture their different eras perfectly. Um, so yeah, and then for example, we just restored Slightly Scarlet,
Yeah.
the James M. Cain adaptation that John Alton photographed in color, and it just goes to show you that it's a hybrid. Uh, he does not shy away from lighting things the same way he did in black and white. So there's large black areas on the screen, but he's shooting in color and utilizing color in very creative ways. So, to me, that's artistry. Like the way John Borman photographed Point Blank. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, there is real artistry to the use of color. It's not just the cinematography, it's the production design accounting for this section of the film is going to be warm, this section of the film is going to be cold, and they dress the sets and the actors and light it accordingly
Yeah.
to get that effect that Borman wanted. So
Yeah.
I like very artfully done color movies. I think are just as good as artfully done black and white movies. But obviously, for film noir, I don't think any of the films that we're talking about from the classic era would have been half as good shot in color, because I don't think the directors and cinematographers um, would have done as good a job in color. I think color makes some cinematographers kind of lazy.
Yeah, and if you guys ever want to see great use of color, this Seiji Suzuki film Tokyo Drifter,
Oh yeah, Tokyo Drifter
which
is a
has
great
it
one.
looks
Yeah.
like a Vincent Minnelli film. It's
Yep.
really, really gorgeous.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay.
Okay. You want to do
Next.
lightning round?
Sure. Let's give it a try.
Okay, this is from our friend Doug, who's in Silver Spring. We have a lot of friends named Doug. Our friend Doug in Silver Springs, Maryland. When will the Film Noir Foundation's restoration of Slightly Scarlet be available for purchase?
Uh, 2027.
When will
I
we
can't.
see
I
it?
can't give you a month.
When will we see it on the big screen in Oakland?
Oh, probably at the festival in January.
Okay, good. I was a little peeved about that. I'm not gonna lie.
Peeved about what?
That we didn't get it in January, and then that
Oh no, we'll have it.
just so people know, it played in Hollywood first this year.
No, actually, it played at Alan Rody's festival in Palm
Oh,
Springs.
that's right. It played in Palm Springs first
It
at
was
Alan Rody's festival.
the
Slightly
restoration
Scarlet did.
wasn't done.
You're right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
Alan kind of snatched it,
yeah.
to show before the Film Noir Foundation debut of it, but that's okay. We'll have it in January in Oakland.
Okay, whoops. It looks like I put the slap question in two places. We've already answered that.
Okay, you can
Uh,
skip that one.
we can skip that
Man,
one.
I'm freaking people out with this lighting. It's getting really crazy over here.
It's kind of cool though. It looks like you're in an aquarium.
that
We should dress you up like a mermaid, like those old bars
that's
had.
just the sun shining through trees,
Yeah.
coming through my window over here by and shining through trees first. So
Gives
it's
it a
doing
very
all
like
this weird stuff. Yeah.
the crime movie Crime Murder 1950, directed by Jack Glenn, doesn't seem to be available for streaming anywhere. This is strange to me as it's highly rated on IMDb. I was wondering if your organization could see who has the rights and maybe generate interest in showing it again. And this is from Kathy.
Uh, I know of this film and I've never been able to find anything on it. Uh, it I'm going to try to do this. I know Jack Lord is in it. I've never seen the movie,
Yeah.
but it it has kind of an intriguing plot description on IMDb. And bear in mind that a high rating on a movie that does not have many ratings is a dangerous way to qualify something, you know? Because it makes me think sometimes that like the family of the filmmaker went in and rated it highly, you know? But yeah, we'll give it a try. It was released by Film Classics, which is the same company that at the very same time released Guilty Bystander, which had disappeared for ages as well until it was discovered, and it was actually Nicholas Winding Refn who paid to have that restored
Oh,
by
and
my
who
friend Peter Conheim. Yeah.
who also directed Bleeder, the film I was talking
Oh
about
yeah, yeah,
earlier.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
A lot of Refn in this episode now.
Oh.
But bless him, he loved to find these obscure, trashy movies and then you know pay his own money to have them restored and then make them available for free on his website. By NWR, BYNWR .com is his website. And if you haven't seen Guilty Bystander and you want to watch it, you can go to that website and just search through it and find that film and a whole bunch of other films that mostly Peter Conheim restored for Refn. So we just showed Guilty Bystander in New York, and I can't say that's a good movie. I can say it's a really interesting movie to watch, but it is not a good movie. Anyway, that's all I'll say about that. I would hold out hope that Cry Murder is perhaps even better.
Yeah. So I have a quick story about Mast and Refn on the set of Bleeder. So
Okay.
at one point, Refn was saying to Mast, well, do you think we should make this Mast's character, Lenny, like cooler? And Mast said, well, he's based on you, so no.
Perfect. Perfect.
Okay, so here's this question. It's long, but it's actually going to be a short answer. And unfortunately, it was unsigned. And I hope you enjoyed Vinegar Syndrome's Who Killed Teddy Bear release as much as I did. Beautiful 4K transfer. I also wanted to let you folks know that Imprint has put out a new 4K from OCN with Dolby Vision of
That means original camera negative.
original camera negative version of The Last Seduction. It not only has both theatrical and director's versions, but a noir version in glorious black and white, also a new 4K scan in Dolby Vision, plus a new interview with John Dahl. Now to my question. I'm a big fan of 1957's The Burglar. It has never had a Blu-ray release and is only available on physical medium in a 10-year-old out-of-print DVD. Naturally, it's only available used at ridiculous prices. Is this a worthwhile film for restoration, in your opinion, or does that involve too many machinations to make the exercise plausible? Never miss you on YouTube, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in August at the Hollywood.
The Hollywood being the Hollywood Theater in Portland, Oregon.
Correct.
Where we are doing Noir City Portland August something or other. I can't remember the dates. Um, the reason we will not restore the Burglar is because it's owned by Sony. I mean, it was a Columbia picture and it's owned by Sony, and Sony has uh, historically, thanks to the great Grover Crisp, who unfortunately has retired from his job at Sony, Grover restored and preserved virtually everything in the Columbia Library before he retired. And I've shown the Prowler, and the print is pristine, and the DCP is great as well. But that doesn't mean that Sony is going to invest in putting it out as a Blu-ray again. They did all that on DVDs, and it was fantastic when they did their box sets and all that stuff. But I can certainly show it. Now I'm just trying to get my head in a place where like the lighting isn't particularly annoying. So I'm having it on my eyes like John Alton would do. Anyway, so that's the answer to that one. I mean, as you know, I try to avoid getting involved in restoring films that are owned by studios because it's silly. Like, why am I paying for this? Like, for example, I am thrilled to report that in New York we showed Noir Apprentice, and it was a fantastic restored, remastered version of the film that Warner Brothers did. It was a Warner Brothers movie, and I will be showing it this fall on Noir Alley, and it looks better than I've ever seen. I mean, it just that James Wong Howe cinematography was exceptional. So I'm very excited about that. That's what I like to see happen when you generate enough demand for something. Sometimes the studios do the right thing and restore the films themselves. So in Sony's case, they don't have to restore it. They just have to, at some point, find it worthwhile to put out as a Blu-ray.
Yeah, and just to let people know, The Burglar's a great film. I've actually seen that, I think 3 times in the theater, different people screening it. It's Dan Duryea, and it's one of my favorite performances. It's in my top
he's
5
terrific in it. Yeah,
performances.
he's very seedy. I'm not super keen on some of the guys in his gang.
Mm-hmm.
They play thieves who the Burglar, right?
Yeah.
But it's interesting because it's Jane Mansfield's first movie, and she's good in it.
She's very good in it.
Yeah, she's really terrific in it. But Paul Wenkos made it. It was an independent film made in Philadelphia with a screenplay by David Goodis himself, because he moved back to Philadelphia at that point. And it's just interesting because Mansfield's in it, but Columbia didn't see it. They didn't recognize her, and they did not release the film until she had made like The Girl Can't Help It and these other movies that were kind of playing off her sex bomb image, which she doesn't, she's, she can't help but be beautiful and sexy and bombshellish in the movie, but they're not playing on that,
Yeah, not at all.
And so it's just interesting that Columbia didn't get it. And, so the film sat on the shelf for a while. And then, Paul Wenkos's career was essentially made by Jane Mansfield, because she became this, one of the M's, Marilyn, Mamie, Mansfield.
Yeah.
And then they released the film.
And this is from Barbara. I wanted to know if you had seen the film A Life at Stake, which features Angela Lansbury in an interesting femme fatale role and was directed by Paul Guilfoyle, an actor turned director who was memorably killed in the trunk of a car by James Cagney in White Heat.
That's right. See, I was going to say that about Paul Guilfoyle, and then they beat me to it. Yes, I have seen the film, and I don't think it's very good. It's low budget and really flat. Keith Andes is the star. Remember him from Clash by Night? He plays Marilyn Monroe's boyfriend in Clash by Night.
Oh, okay.
And it is interesting that um, Barbara, you're right. I mean, Angela Lansbury did at this point a couple of films at least where she was the femme fatale. Please Murder Me with Raymond Burr, which was directed by Peter Godfrey. She's a femme fatale in that one, and she is in this one as too. She's a real estate agent, femme fatale. I just think the movie is just, it kind of just sits there. I mean, it was very much just a job of work for everybody involved.
Yeah.
I don't think Paul Guilfoyle did much at all with this plot. So I don't look for it anytime soon coming to a Noir City festival near you.
Okay, and this is from Aaron and Kathy. Here's some Noir trivia for you, but we haven't worked it into a question. Watching Double Indemnity for the upteenth time recently, in conjunction with viewing the Blue Dahlia again, it struck Kathy that Walter Neff's apartment was a match for Bendix and Beaumont's apartment. We did some comparing and matching with some minor cosmetic changes. It seems plausible to us that it's a redress set in Dahlia, but with the curtains carried over. We've seen you use a few visual aids of late on Ask Eddie, so maybe you'd enjoy sharing this with the Noristas. So let me.
You didn't do that, did you?
Do what?
Do you have pictures of the
I have
apartments?
pictures.
Oh,
yes,
you're incredible,
yes,
man.
they did a really. The pictures are from Aaron and Kathy, so they put these pictures together and emailed them to me.
Okay.
So this is
Okay.
Aaron and Kathy's work, just to be clear. Okay, let's share, and we are going to share on the screen, and we're going to share.
Good. Then people don't have to look at me and that crazy.
Yeah. So,
okay. Now the question is, can I see this? Hold on a second. Hold on.
See if you can
I'm
see
trying
it.
to. I need to enlarge
where you are.
I mean, it is kind of funny because okay. I don't recall. I mean, those are not the same set, right? I mean, the archway and the wall between the living room and the kitchen is much narrower, it seems to me, well, maybe it's just the camera placement now that I think about it. I mean, it's not inconceivable, and they're both Paramount films, but they would be, they have, like, I'm not going to say prefab sets, but what's the difference? There's almost 2 years between the two movies, so it's not like the set was sitting around waiting to be repurposed.
Okay, here's the next one.
Okay. Well, I don't recall there being, I mean, Murphy beds, that's obviously a Murphy bed, right?
Coming down, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't know. It's just very hard to say. I mean, I could say that, yeah, it looks like Liz Scott's place in Too Late for Tears is one thing I'm certain of is, wait a second, is this bottom picture, is that Buzz going out? It says their doors swing oppositely, because famously the apartment in Double Indemnity has that door that opens outwards, which is not the way any apartment doors actually work, but they needed that for the scene in the hallway. Yeah, I mean, it seems to me that that there's, and the way these are split up, it's hard for me to tell what's actually going on in these shots. But it seems to me like the wall next to the door is a lot narrower in the Double Indemnity shot than it is in the Blue Dahlia shot. Yeah, I mean, it could be, oh, there's even more. Look at this.
Yes, this is the last one.
I don't know. It could very well be the same, the very same walls, just configured slightly differently.
Yeah.
Boy, we got some hardcore fans.
I know. It's pretty impressive, huh?
Yeah, that they did all that. It was kind of remarkable. I
Yeah.
will say that I'm trying to remember if did John Seitz. I think John Seitz photographed the Blue Dahlia because I know he photographed Double Indemnity, and I think the apartment was shot better in Double Indemnity than in the Blue Dahlia, but wouldn't surprise me at all if they were the same.
Okay, do you want to do question 6? Now that we're
Um,
through the lightning round, everybody.
okay. Oh, so we're through with the lightning round. Okay,
Yes.
good. And it wasn't much of a lightning round, I have to tell you. Uh, I think we have to have shorter questions in the lightning round. Okay, here we go. Kay from Portland, Oregon says, I recently discovered a French poetic realism collection on Criterion and fell hard for it. Well, that's what you're supposed to
Yay.
do in poetic realism.
Exactly.
I am wondering if you might talk a bit about the similarities and differences that French poetic realism has with noir. It seems that there is quite a bit of crossover. Well, I mean, a lot of people would tell you that French poetic realism is sort of the progenitor of film noir in terms of the whole feel and ethos
Yes.
of the movies rather than just the visual style, which people must ascribe to German expressionism, even though I mean, when I introduced in New York, I got to introduce the new restoration of Stranger on the Third Floor, and said, there are a lot of people who say film noir is sort of an outgrowth of German expressionism, which I don't necessarily buy. But in the case of Stranger on the Third Floor, it absolutely is. I mean, there's no question about that. But French poetic realism is just more about the stories themselves. And I think some of the, and I won't do this better than Imogen, because Imogen did a whole like 20-minute intro to that series on Criterion where she talks all about the roots of poetic realism and why it happened when it did. Very much a between the wars phenomenon, uh, and there's a doomed romanticism about it, and also that they chose to focus the stories on working class people instead
Mhm.
of aristocratic people and affluent people and all that. It was really stories that very much like noir were like working class tragedies with a super romantic feel. Like the guy is lonely and he's lost and filled with existential ennui, and then he meets the woman of his dreams, but it's doomed to
Mhm.
not come to, the romance will never come to fruition for whatever reason. And these 9 out of 10 of these movies star Joan Gabin,
Yeah.
right? Who was like the definitive actor for that, because he's sort of like uh how have I described him? Jean Gabin was like a cross between Spencer Tracy, Humphrey Bogart, and Gary Cooper. I mean, he was like those three actors all rolled
Wait, which
into
3 actors?
Humphrey Bogart, Spencer Tracy, and Gary Cooper. I mean, he had the stoicism and the stillness of Gary Cooper. He had kind of the tough guy Bogart thing, but he had like that everyday simple man quality that Spencer Tracy personified. And it took three. I always like to say it takes three actors to make one Gabin. Because
Yeah.
he was so incredibly great at that stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I'll be. Am I showing some of this on Noir Alley soon? I can't. I honestly can't. Oh no, what I'm showing is this fall is I'll be showing The Long Night, which is an RKO remake of one of those films,
Yes.
Le Jour Célèbre, which is Break of Dawn or
Yeah.
Daybreak, as it was translated into English.
Can I
Uh,
give you my one criticism? Well, one of my criticisms of The Long Night.
Oh yeah, there's several things to criticize about that movie. Yeah,
But here's like the thing that threw me out of the film was, so Vincent Price is in it, if people don't know,
yeah.
right? And he plays this guy who has a dog act, right? And when you're watching him do the dog act, right, Vincent is so happy, and it's just breaking the. I mean, because Vince in real life, and you could, and this isn't me. I mean, he was a huge dog lover in real life, and he's so, you can tell like how happy he is doing this dog act and stuff. And then later on, the woman tells Henry Fonda that, you know, Vincent character like trains the dogs by like burning them with cigarettes, and I literally burst out laughing because it was so unbelievable, because he was just too joyous when he was doing the dog act that you would believe that his character is, you know,
Well,
doing.
you also know so much about Vincent Price that you know
Yeah,
that that's an impossibility. But
yeah,
I don't know. I wonder if people watching the movie bought
yeah.
that because
Or
he's the
because you
quote
may.
unquote bad guy in the movie.
Yeah, and he's good when he's being the bad guy. I just
Yeah,
couldn't. But like I said,
yeah.
he was just a little too happy during the dog act. There
And
was too much
I
real
do think
enjoyment
that
there.
I do think it stars Henry Fonda, and I do
Yeah,
think that Henry Fonda is really good
yeah.
in the movie, and was kind of perfect for film noir.
He
But
should have done
he
more.
I know he didn't do much at all. I mean,
Yeah.
if you want to call the Oxbow incident a Western noir, he's in that. And The Fugitive is noirish just because of Gabrielle Figueroa's
So
cinematography.
yeah, that's a
But
beautifully shot film.
yeah, but yeah. So I'm showing
And
the
the wrong
wrong light,
man.
not the Gabon film, and the wrong man, of course. Yeah,
Yeah.
where he has, a lot of people don't like that movie because of his passivity, but I think that's kind of the point of the film, is
Oh
that he,
yeah, because that's kind of. I mean, but that's very realistic.
yeah, I think because he's trusting of the system,
Yeah.
and he just keeps thinking that it's not going to screw him over,
No.
and then it does. I mean, I think audiences have a hard time today with The Wrong Man just because the crime is so negligible in the movie. He robs a store instead of killing somebody.
Yeah.
The stakes are very low in that film for an audience today. I think Hitchcock's whole point with wanting to make that movie was to show how the punishment so far exceeded the crime itself that it was terrifying. You're accused of robbing a convenience store or something, and it's like you're going to the seventh ring of hell in the New York justice system. And I think that was the point. It wasn't like,
But that's
oh,
still, that's still true.
of
If you go,
course.
I mean, that's the thing, is maybe people don't understand that, but but going to jail completely fucks, pardon me, completely screws your life. It doesn't matter if you only do a couple years. It doesn't matter.
Oh
You're,
yeah,
I mean, trying to
no,
get work again, and what the hell's a wife and kids going to do while you're in prison? I
absolutely.
mean,
But Anne,
going to prison is a huge deal.
you're talking about real life as opposed to a movie.
Right.
I just mean the
Yeah.
stakes in the movie for an audience today seem very low.
Yeah, I
You know,
guess they're just, yeah, I guess. Yeah.
yeah, because now that movie would be The Wrong Man. It'd be like a Cornell Wilson. The Wrong Man is on death row.
Bro, yeah, kind of
I
thing.
mean, the
Yeah.
threat isn't that he's going to go to death row or anything. The threat is that it's going to just destroy
Yeah.
his life because it's driving his wife crazy, and he just doesn't. He's not equipped to defy the system.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not.
Yeah.
The question wasn't about The Wrong Man, so
But we really got off on a tangent there. Okay, and this
we
is
did.
from Bob in San Francisco. I compared Eddie's list of 25 best noirs from Eddie's website with the films he programmed for TCM Summer of Darkness and noticed two differences.
Favorite noirs, not best noirs. I mean, it says best here, but I'm just saying
Yes, the list is actually favorite.
I have to stress that they're my favorite noirs, not my saying the best. Okay.
Okay, the list includes The City Never Sleeps and Tomorrow is Another Day, which were replaced with The Breaking Point and Force of Evil. Does that reflect a change in your view of the relative merit of the films, or was it a mundane issue like film availability? Also, I think the Noirista community would really appreciate a supplemental list of the next tier of your favorite Noirs that we could seek out. Ordering would not be necessary.
I have serious doubt that is going to happen. But Bob, you're right on both counts. Well, the whole thing came about because TCM decided, let's do the Summer of Darkness again, but what's the hook? And nobody could come up with a hook. And then Charlie Tabish, the head of programming, said, well, I went to your website and you've got 25 films right there. That's the hook. It's like Eddie's favorite films, Eddie's favorite noir films. And I said, great, let's just show them in chronological order. And it'll be like a stroll through the history of the classic film noir era. But honestly, from the time I made that list to now, I probably would redo it and put The Breaking Point and Force of Evil on the list. Maybe not necessarily in place of those two films. I know I put Tomorrow Is Another Day on that list because at the time I made it, nobody really knew that movie at all. Same with City That Never Sleeps. So I wanted to put films on the list that were not as well known, so it wasn't just the same list that everybody else was doing. And I do really enjoy those movies. Mm-hmm. But we could not get them either. Okay. I mean, we could have gotten Tomorrow Is Another Day. That's not a problem. It's a Warner Brothers film. We could have gotten that. But City That Never Sleeps is more complicated. That was a Republic picture. Those pictures are all owned by Paramount. There's a limited number of Paramount films that we can show within a certain window of time. And Charlie just said, if you can trade that one out for something else, I'd appreciate it. And of course, The Breaking Point's also a Warner Brothers film. And so that was an obvious one. There is no question that if I remade that list now, The Breaking Point would be in the top 10, maybe. Mm-hmm. I just think that film is superlative, absolutely superlative. Okay, that's the answer to that. Oh, you want me to read the one here? This is from Ken in Oklahoma. Thank you for showing Blackout on Noir Alley. And it led me to this question. Oh God, my apologies already for people who haven't seen Blackout, because this is kind of specific to the film. I understand why Casey, that's played by Dane Clark, wound up with Phyllis, but to me, Maggie was a more interesting match. Well, duh. Yeah, sorry. At least a safer one. Given that Dane Clark was in real life 9 years older than Eleanor Summerfield, who that's the actress that plays Maggie, who I described as the British Eve Arden. They have good chemistry, aside from the fact that he's 9 years old. They had good chemistry. It's plausible, at least. Are there other film noirs where either of you thought that it would be better, or at least more interesting, if the Eve Arden-type gets the man or other characters wound up with someone else? No.
I would have liked to see Eve Arden and Jack Carson get together, and Mildred Pierce.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. Eve Arden, I don't know. I think she was kind of interested in Mildred.
No, they were just friends. That's girls in the trenches together putting up with men. I'm kind of
joking, but I'm Eve Arden was the second banana that I always felt deserved better.
Yeah.
And
gosh, yeah, I love her in The Unfaithful, because and it's fun because she has the come to Jesus moment with the husband and that, who's her cousin, and it's just like, look, here's your reality check. And it's actually my favorite scene in that movie. I mean, I love that movie anyway, but that scene is just fantastic to me.
I know this I'm not really prepared to answer this question. Are there any other ones that you can think of, Ann? I mean, I'm thinking like of Angel Face. I can't really see Mitchum with Mona Freeman.
Oh,
in
she's
angel
better off. She
phase.
doesn't want him anymore.
She doesn't
I
want
mean,
him
she
anymore,
kicks him to the curb. He
which
tries to come back, and she's like, "I have moved on."
is a fantastic scene.
I
I mean,
love that scene. I
that
love
is
that
so
scene.
good, where he really thinks he's just going to walk back in and she's going to dump, Kenneth Toby and just come back to him. And it's like, nope, you had your chance, buddy. You screwed up. I'm going with Mr. Normal over here.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think if there are any other ones where like the good girl is actually like better than the bad girl. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, they're all better than the bad girl, but where you're thinking like, why is he so blind? Why is he,
Yeah.
and it's so interesting. I mean, there's a possible article for the Noir City magazine, like all the women left behind,
Yeah.
like Virginia Houston and Out of the Past.
Yeah.
What actually happens? Does her thing with Richard Denning or whatever the guy's name is, I can't remember the actor who played him now. He was so stiff. Does that work out? Does it work out with Mona Freeman and Kenneth Toby?
I think they work out.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no, that scene when she's sitting in his lap and they're drinking beer. No, yeah, that's.
Do you think do you think that at the end of Vertigo, does Scotty, God, this is outrageous.
Yeah.
Does Scotty go back to Midge?
I hope not, because I like Midge.
Yeah, Midge is pretty cool, and I think she'd do the same thing Mona Freeman did. She'd just kick him out.
Yeah, I think so too. No, Midge is over it, and yeah, I mean, she's an independent woman. She can support herself. Hopefully, I'd like to think Midge met someone normal at some point and got married. That'd be nice. She was a cool person. I'd like that for her, but I would have hated it if you know.
Yep. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah,
well, that's as far as I can go with that one.
Okay.
It was a good question, Ken, but I totally agree with. I would have stuck with Maggie all the way. Phyllis was just too. Now I'm drawing a blank on the actress's name. She's so beautiful. But she was just too weird and duplicitous and strange. I mean, Eleanor Summerfield was just so. She's just good company. You just want to, I just didn't want the camera to move away from her in the film. She was so enjoyable. Oh well.
Yeah, yeah. And I always said the one that was always hard for me though was Strange Love of Martha Ivers. I just found it really unbelievable that if you've been in love with Barbara Stanwyck, you would have wound up with Liz Scott. I mean, Barbara's completely, insane. And she was still she's just so compelling. It was really hard to believe you'd ever get over Barbara Stanwyck. But
it fascinates me. Yeah. We won't go into this. Maybe it'll be something we'll talk about in another episode. But it does still confound me that there are people who don't get Barbara Stanwyck.
I have no answer.
Who watch a Barbara Stanwyck movie and they're like, I don't get it. She's not very interesting. She's not very appealing. I don't know what people see in her. I just don't get it. She is so utterly compelling on screen and such a phenomenal actress. I mean, again, I was just watching Double Indemnity again on a big screen. I said to myself, well, where am I going to go for dinner? And then I introduced the movie because it was a packed house and I wasn't going to watch it. And as I'm walking up the aisle, it's like there's one empty seat sitting, on the aisle. And I said, well, I'll just watch the beginning to see how it looks, watch the whole thing principally because I couldn't take my eyes off any of the lead actors, any of them, including Fred MacMurray, who is great in that film. And, it was the audience actually, and this is not something you find in a New York audience. The audience actually erupted in spontaneous applause when Edward G. Robinson did his thing about the statistics of
Yeah.
suicide, about the guy dying by jumping off the back of the train,
Yeah.
which of course I didn't prime them for that at all. I have introduced the movie and told the story of how Edward G. Robinson did that in one take,
Yeah.
and the crew just erupted in applause because they couldn't believe that he nailed it one take.
Yeah.
But they appreciated greatness when they saw it and did not hesitate to just erupt in applause, which doesn't bother me. Sometimes it bothers me when it's like half-hearted, like I'm
Yeah.
cool, I'm recognizing this thing,
Yeah.
but that was just this spontaneous, holy God, that was great.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say Leave Her to Heaven. I think the interesting thing about that film is that he actually had Cornel Wilde's
Cornell Wilde, yeah.
character, yeah, actually has really good chemistry with uh the sister, Jean Crane.
Gene Crane,
Like
yeah.
right away and stuff. It'd be just kind of just swept into this, which is kind of in the book too, where he gets kind of swept, into this the other woman and stuff. But I really like how that relationship
Yeah.
progresses while he's married to the sister, and nothing untoward, but just that they have a real connection.
Yes, yes,
You know,
I'm with you on that. Okay, so are you reading the next
number
one?
nine, number
I think
nine.
that's it. Number nine. Number nine. Do you think
For
there are people who don't know what that's a reference to?
I was just wondering that if younger people might not know that
Number
reference.
nine. Number
Number
nine.
nine.
Number nine. Turn me on, dead man. Turn me on, dead man. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, Stacy, Missouri. I'm curious about Eddie's writing process for TCM. I have heard you say you write all the intros and outros. When you select a film, do you begin by rewatching it? What resources do you use to tell us all the backstories? Does someone fact check your information? I have a different experience with the film when bookended by an intro and outro. Do you ever have a different experience after writing for the films? Have you ever grown to enjoy or dislike certain films after sitting with them during the writing process? I would enjoy hearing about specific films that have moved you in a new way over time. And have you ever listened to Tales of the Texas Ranger with Joel McCrea? Yes, it's good. Lots of crime, gory details, and upholding the law in the 40s. I call it Dragnet for rural Texas. Yeah, that's a great way to describe that radio show.
And well, obviously you know the show.
Yeah,
I've
I do.
never heard that show. Interesting.
Yeah, it's good.
Well,
And
okay.
yeah,
Stacy in Missouri got max out of this question because I think there are like a dozen questions in this thing. Um, okay, let me see if I can. Yes, I do write all the intros and outros for Noir Alley. Truth be told, I do not write all of the intros for other stuff that I do on TCM. Those are collaborations. They'll give me a script and then I get to rewrite it to my specifications. That's like if I do Summer Under the Stars or a special night or something. So
but for
uh,
Summer of Darkness, you wrote all those.
well, I had shown most of those films
Yeah.
before. So they were like abridged versions of existing introductions. And if I learn something new about the film, I'll rewrite it to include this new information. Um, the thing that's interesting is if I've shown a film two or three times, I can't necessarily just write a whole new introduction because most people will be seeing it for the first time.
Yeah.
And so I have to go back to the basic thing. I generally try to throw in one or two new wrinkles so it's not just a redo of an existing introduction. Okay, I do not necessarily rewatch the film unless it's a movie that I have not seen many times. If I'm writing an introduction for In a Lonely Place or out of the past or something, I don't have to rewatch the film again. The resources I use, I mean, if it's I have you guys have seen my office upstairs. I mean, you haven't seen all the books that are in that office, but generally, I try to use existing books to do my research and not use the internet, because the internet is very, very unreliable. Except if you're looking up dates and things like that, you know. I mean, I admit I'll be writing, like I was writing one today for a movie that I'm showing. And, you know, I love on Google that I can just talk to Google now and say, what year was this released? And it comes right up. You know, I don't have to go to a reference book or something. But I'm certainly not going to trust Wikipedia or any of those things for information on these films, right? Have you ever had? I don't. The key thing about when I write intros for Noir Alley is I don't want to mislead people into thinking this is an undiscovered classic if I don't think it's a good film. But I'm not going to say I don't think this is a good film. I'm going to mitigate expectations for people, you know, by saying this isn't so and so's best work or something. You know, the film I wrote about today is a movie called Slander from 1957, and the reason I wanted to show it was honestly so I could talk all about what it was about. Not the movie, but that it was about Confidential magazine and what it was doing in the 1950s. And I knew the backstory of that was really compelling and interesting, and I don't think a lot of people know about it. So I said, well, I'll show the movie. The movie is not great. The movie is really not good. And that's largely the fault of the director. And it's just not a well-directed movie. Steve Cochran is
He's
wonderful
fantastic in it. An extremely different role for him.
Yeah,
And he's fantastic in it.
Yep, and that's what's really interesting. So I talk about his performance, and I talk about the guy that he's playing, Robert Harrison, and you know, and I talk about how this must have been interesting for Van Johnson because he was persecuted by Confidential magazine, and so this was an opportunity for him to kind of get even making this movie. And then I talk about the other movie stars who helped ruin Confidential, like Errol Flynn and Maureen O'Hara and Liz Scott and their attorney, Jerry Giesler. And so, you know, that all, you know, otherwise Slander was not a film that anybody at TCM put on my list of noir availables. Yeah. Pardon me. But I told Charlie, you know, I want to see, I want to be the judge of what's noir. I don't want to just look at a preordained list of noir. It's lighting. It's unbelievable. You can see my camera here is now
like a shadow on you.
This is ridiculous. I won't be sitting in this position next time.
Lesson learned.
Anyway, that was it, right? Have you grown to enjoy or dislike certain films after sitting? I don't actively dislike too many films. I always find something of interest in it. And the thing I promise I will never do is say, you know, this film is really terrific if I don't believe it. Right. Yeah. I mean, I just won't say it's great. I'll just talk about the film without saying, here's this great film from 1956. You know, I'll just say from 1956, here is the film. So that's pretty much the process. It's not super complicated, but oh my God. This is nuts. Here we go. I'm going to sit over here like
Okay,
this. Okay.
perfect. That's perfect. Do you want me?
We're almost done. We only
We're
have two
almost done.
questions to go.
We have one
Yeah.
question left. Uh, which is two
Which
questions
is two questions.
from Dan. One, what do you consider the best film noir movie of all time? Two, what is your personal favorite film noir movie?
I showed all three at the Noir City Festival in New York. The best noir movie of all time, it's a toss up. Take your pick. It's Double Indemnity or Out of the Past. My favorite film of all time is In a Lonely Place. So I showed them all at the festival in New York City. I mean, there are other films that, oh, you want to know something awesome?
Yes.
I swear I didn't do it. It wasn't me. So I become friends with Amy Robinson, who lives in New York City. She's an actress and film producer, and people probably know her as an actress best for playing Harvey Keitel's girlfriend in Mean Streets. And as a producer, she and Griffin Dunn produced Scorsese's After Hours, which is is a personal favorite of mine. I'm gonna
Here you go.
do this. There we go. Now it's a little better at least. Okay, there we go. And Amy came to many of the shows in New York, but one night I was so excited because she brought with her Peter Deming, who is the cinematographer who shot Mulholland Drive. And that was just such an unexpected treat. I think it was also a bit of a treat for him because when she said, "This is my friend Peter Deming," and I'm like, "Oh my God." I kind of geeked out because I say, Mulholland Drive is a film that I put on my, because I got to vote in the Sight and Sound, 100 greatest movies thing. And I said, Mulholland Drive is on that list, is one of my 10 favorite movies of all time. And the fact that, I just got to stand in the lobby and talk to him about shooting that film. And he's just such a regular guy, in his jeans and t-shirt and everything. He's just super nice guy. But that was a real treat. That happened a bit in New York. I didn't meet her, but a note was left for me at the box office from Robert Wise's daughter.
Oh, wow.
Just thanking me for always saying such nice things about him on the air, because
I feel Robert Wise is like kind of forgotten director in some ways.
What's interesting is his movies certainly aren't forgotten.
No, but people don't put it together. If you look at everything, I mean, he made The Sound of Music, one of the all-time greatest musicals. He made The Haunting, which I think is the greatest supernatural horror film of all time, period. And then he made, these noirs. I mean, you just look at his career; it's kind of amazing.
He has done, I think, more than any other director, and I'm including Michael Curtiz in this. I think Robert Wise has done arguably the best film or one of the best films in every genre.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, Day the Earth Stood Still as a science fiction film is unbelievable.
I left that one out. Yeah.
He's done arguably the two most successful musicals of all time, Sound of Music and West Side Story. I know noir fans don't really care about that, but Odds Against Tomorrow is one of the great heist pictures ever made. I mean, the guy could just do it all. He is one of the most reliable directors in the history of Hollywood. He didn't get to make the films, of that stature like William Wyler, but he's not far behind William Wyler in terms of the number of really terrific movies he made. I mean, a case could be made that William Wyler was the greatest Hollywood director of all time. And, I wouldn't argue with somebody about it, but I think Wise is definitely in that, the top half dozen directors in the history of Hollywood. So there you go.
By the way, my 2 cents, I think the best film noir movie of all time is Double Indemnity, and my personal favorite film noir movie is my favorite movie of all time, The Maltese Falcon, which is going to be in theaters on December 20th. I have bought my tickets for it, so check your local listings. It's going to be one of those like Fathom event type things. Go
Yeah,
see The
yeah.
Maltese Falcon in the theater. I love that movie.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm very, very
Fantastic.
excited. And where better to see it than San Francisco?
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, and we did it. We're all
Yeah.
we're 11 minutes over our allotted time, but that's not bad.
Yeah, just really
That's not bad.
quickly, I finally got to see The Last Viking, and I would once again like to say to Samuel Goldwyn Pictures for not putting that out in theaters. Anyway, I got to see it.
Okay.
And it's available on streaming on Prime. It's fantastic. It is my second favorite Thomas Anders film. It's right under Flickering Lights. Flickering Lights is still probably my all-time favorite.
That's pretty cool.
The Last Viking, but Nicola Lake Cruz is amazing at it. He's really a central character. Mass plays his brother who has dissociative identity disorder and basically thinks he's John Lennon. So there's that. And Nikolai's character just got out of prison for armed robbery, and his brother was the one who buried the money, but he can't remember where it is because he's been taken over by this other personality. And very unusually, Nicholas Bro plays a really scary, nasty criminal. It's a very like I've never seen Bro do stuff because Bro usually plays more comedic type characters, and he's really scary because he's a big guy. So when he's threatening, he's really imposing. And Sophie.
And where did you see this?
It's on Amazon, so you can stream.
Okay, that's good. I will check it out.
But it's really great. Like I said, it's I thought it was fantastic. I was not disappointed at all. But I've been waiting for this film to come out since it was announced, and not to be able to see it in a theater really upset me. I actually emailed the releasing company and said, "Why didn't you put this out in the theater after Riders of Justice was such a huge hit and Mads Mikkelsen's and he's an international movie star?"
Oh, movies don't know what they're doing. Are you going to go see The Odyssey?
No, I'm not really. I don't really like.
You don't like Chris Nolan movies, right?
Not particularly, and I really don't like epic films very much. Like I don't particularly like that. Like I'll watch them if Charlton Heston's in them, and now I watch them if Mads Mikkelsen's in them because Mads Mikkelsen basically always does a Charlton Heston character. It's so weird. The two historical films I've seen with Mikkelsen, they were their total Heston roles. This is so weird. I guess you've taken over those roles for Mr. Heston now that he's no longer with us. But yeah, I just don't like historical. And also like I know a lot about like Greek mythology and that kind of stuff, and I tend not to enjoy adaptations of those stories very much anyway. So, but I mean, it looks fantastic and people love it. I would say if you're going to see it, go see it on IMAX. And I wish I had seen Dunkirk. I do regret not seeing Dunkirk. I wish I had seen that.
I had a bit of a hard time with it, but I mean, I appreciate Chris Nolan movies more than I actually like them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't seen it, and the challenge for me is just finding that amount of time to go to a movie, which is really kind of sad. But I'd rather see Disclosure Day, which I still haven't seen, before I see The Odyssey. So anyway, maybe next time I'll report back.
Well, I'm gonna go see Refn's new film next week, which is Her Personal Hell, I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
I know it looks interesting. I like Sophie Thatcher, and I thought I'll go see that. That looks.
I've always found his films very intriguing and watchable.
Yeah.
Even when I end up hating them when it's over, and I think that's a perfectly valid thing.
Yeah.
Like as long as you're not boring me.
Yeah.
I can sit here and watch the film, and it's like I can argue with the film. I'm still getting something out of it.
Yeah.
I didn't really like the Neon Demon. I thought it was kind of stupid. But I watched it. I watched it all the way through, and I like,
Yeah.
But he's not a boring filmmaker, which is,
No, I mean, like I thought like with Drive, I had mixed feelings about it.
So did I. I feel that
Yeah.
I feel like and also I feel this sometimes about Guillermo del Toro,
Yeah.
that they have almost a childish glee in rubbing the audience's face and the violence and stuff.
Yeah, which I don't particularly. As I know people are surprised because I like horror films, but I don't necessarily really like violence in films in
Yeah.
particular. I mean, I think when it's used really effectively, like Obsession uses violence very well when it's in there. And since I last talked to you, Ted and I rewatched Don't Look Now because neither had seen it in a while. We got it on I bought it on Criterion when they were having a sale, so watch Don't Look Now again.
How and your reaction?
It was great. I mean, it was great seeing it again, and it was so great to see kind of just because I love anything set in Venice. Like I will watch anything that is shot in Venice.
You've seen The Comfort of Strangers, I think.
No, I actually haven't seen The Comfort of Strangers.
You should.
So
well, that's Paul Schrader.
Yeah.
His homage to Don't Look Now. That's basically what that film is.
Yeah, I'll have to watch that. But it was great to see it again.
Don't Look Now is and what I love about it so completely, you can't talk about because you cannot give anything away in that movie. It would be totally spoiling the film for people who haven't seen it. But I'm going to say that like the last 6 minutes of Don't Look Now is just off the charts great. It is cinema of the highest order, I think.
It was really interesting too watching it this time when Ted and I were watching it because we started to notice how much red is used in the art design. And it's not because there's the big things with the red, but it's all over the city and in his scarf and her boots, and all of a sudden you start seeing
and then it becomes a trigger. It becomes a trigger for you in the second half of the movie because you're just like primed for like, oh my God. And I mean, that's so brilliant because it's set up through the whole movie. Like when when his kid dies in the beginning and then and you see the little color transparency with the dye. Is it dye or is it blood or is it a vision or what is it?
Yeah.
It's so compelling. And Don Sutherland is just great in that movie.
Yeah. And I also really thought too, because I kind of forgot until I saw it again, was that her brother is there at the beginning. And I started to think about the son. And oh my God, this kid's going to have like the worst. Yeah. He's going to be in therapy the rest of his life because all this, the sequence of all these films. I forgot he saw his sister drown. Like I'd forgotten that. And then, and then all these other things that happened that I won't give away. And I was like, God, that poor kid, he's just going to really be a mess.
A Daphne du Maurier story.
Yeah.
Really interesting. It's a long way from Rebecca.
Very much so, but so it's good for people to maybe see that just for that. But anyway, so I just wanted to throw that out there.
Okay, I didn't get that martini, so I'm going to go do it right now.
Yeah, I might bleep up my remark about my profanity, but I was really mad about it.
That was pretty funny.
Okay,
just put a bleep in there. I'm always encouraging. I just wrote a script for TCM where I quoted Billy Wilder, and he he says it, the F word, blurted it out in this one quote. And I was like, I'm just going to read it. I'm just going to read it that way in the intro and tell TCM, just bleep it. It will be so much funnier if you just beep, just rather than doing the stupid F this, I just want to say it and then have them bleep it. I think the audience would get a kick out of it. So anyway, there I am without light on my face.
Now it's perfect.
Now that we're done, it's perfect. Yeah. Okay. I want to, now that I'm in this position, which I've never been in before, I might as well tilt the camera so that people can see this portrait that is hung on my wall my entire life. That is a portrait of up here. That's where am I? I'm over here.
There you go.
That is California Joe Lynch. That is a self-portrait that he did of himself in pastels. And California Joe Lynch was the guy who taught me to box.
Oh, wow.
He was a professional boxer in California, obviously. There was a Philadelphia Joe Lynch as well, which is why he had to take the California moniker, who was a lightweight boxer, and he taught boxing classes in San Francisco back in the day and was also quite an accomplished artist. And that is a portrait that Joe did of himself. He left all of his artwork when he died to my dad. And I just love that picture of him. I wish you could see it a little better. But, he's wearing, maybe it was an influence on me. He's wearing a very nice blue silk tie in the a white shirt and a blue silk tie, and he's got his hair all brilliantined, and it's really cool. So that painting or drawing has been on my wall for like 45 years in various places, but it always is there because the guy was a very influential character in my life. So there you go.
Cool.
Okay.
So we'll see you guys in Portland soon, because that's
Yeah.
right around the corner. And then Chicago is in September. And when this airs, tickets will all have been on sale for Chicago.
It's amazing. All the festivals are now so gung-ho that I think tickets are on sale for almost all of them. And I think they'll be on
Yeah.
sale for Washington, D.C. soon. And then in the middle, Detroit is in there
As well.
in the middle after Chicago, before Washington, D.C. So yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So anyway, okay, this was a long ass show this week.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but good. It was good catching up with you, and I hope everybody had a good time. And keep the questions coming.
Okay, great. And yeah, good night, everybody.
Bye.